I'm going with it. I don't know what's open any longer. We are live. Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock Game 7 edition. We're here. Basketball is real. We've got the ultimate NBA game today between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. I am excited to watch it. I am prepped and ready to go. And we have 29 minutes to go until we are locked. So if you're ready, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engelman. You guys can't hear me on playback? For real? Give me 1 second, YouTube, so that I can make playback hear me. I'm going to refresh this bad boy. It appears whatever they're getting is not what they're supposed to be getting. And I want to give the full experience to everyone. So let's get this screen shared again. OddsShopper sharing on playback right now, giving out the best bets you could possibly find that exist, at least as of right now. All right, thanks guys. On playback, here we are. Let's do it. Game 7. We're going to have some fun. We do have to wait at least for the next couple minutes to find out if we're going to get any changes to the starting lineup. And I guess we don't have to, because 29 seconds ago, SGA, Dort, J-Dub, Chet, and Hartenstein, no changes. So we don't have to worry about anything. I refreshed my Twitter screen and it was in front of my face. No changes to the starting lineup, which means we're moving forward and we're breaking this bad boy down. Hit the like button. That's what I want you guys to do, because this is the last one. This is the last time I'm going to ask you guys for a like button on an NBA video until October. So grab it now while you can. SGA is your most owned player overall. Oh, and don't worry. Playback after this, playback.tv/Stokastic, we'll talk Kevin Durant. I'm Team Jalen Green, by the way. I didn't know that, but apparently I am. SGA is your most owned player. 73% owned overall, 22% at the captain, more than anybody else. 51% at utility, more than anybody else. It's hard to not like SGA. And it's certainly hard to not like SGA if you assume OKC wins. But I could see the path. 1 out of every 4 times you're playing this slate based on this ownership, he's not in it. And then you hit the 50 range. Chet and J-Dub, both around 55%, both in the 15% captain range, both 40% at the utility. 2 distinctly different salary tiers, 10-8 for J-Dub, 8,400 for Chet. Does Chet make a shot today? That would be helpful. This is a guy that essentially hasn't made a 3. He's 2 for way too many from 3 so far this series. Do they start to fall? Does he find some matchups that aren't driving directly into Miles Turner? We shall see. J-Dub's been great lately. He seems to be finding a spot that he can create his own looks. Can he make a long-range jumper? That's going to be pretty important today. And then you have the 4th most owned player, at least as of our last run of ownership. And that would be a guy that I don't think a lot of people are very happy with so far this series. But that is Miles Turner at 5,600. He, much like Chet, has not been able to buy a bucket in this series, at least from the perimeter. But at 5,600, is he too cheap? Is there value there? Or do you want to go to the sea of value that exists in that same range? Like 5K Aaron Nesmith, 6K Andrew Nembhard, $5,400 Obi Toppin, 4K Lou Dort, who's sort of in the same range, $5,800 TJ McConnell, who has been quite the hero over a couple of these games, Caruso at 6,400, Isaiah Hartenstein at 5,200. Getting your winning lineup today is going to require probably 2 of the dudes that I just named in this mid-tier 4, 5, 6 range. And those guys are going to likely look like NBA Finals heroes if they're in the winning lineup today. But if you're asking me, I don't have a great lean on Aaron Nesmith or Andrew Nembhard. A lot of it has to do with the health of Tyrese Halliburton, who is active and in, but certainly not at 100%, no matter what we saw last time out. Obi Toppin is going to get a bunch of looks. Do they fall today? They're going to need them to. Lou Dort is leading everybody in the playoffs in terms of three-point attempts. Are those moon balls going to fall today? Because if they do, that's going to go a long way in getting Oklahoma City a title. Can TJ keep it up? He's 5,800. He needs to do a lot. All those steals need to exist. That penetration needs to end in jumpers. And then you got $6,400 Alex Caruso, who has either been exceptional or dreadful, depending on which game you're looking at. What does he end up doing? Isaiah Hartenstein could play anywhere from 17 minutes to 29 today, and you'd believe any bit of it. Can Benedict Mathurin restart the fire that we saw earlier in this series after a game 6 where he was totally unnecessary, barely played? And that says nothing for Kenrich Williams, Cason Wallace, Tony Bradley, Ben Shepherd. There are a lot of question marks for the rest of this game. And I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Clearly, I assume Oklahoma City wins. I don't think that's a surprise. They're big favorites. They're at home. It's tough to assume anything else, but every single game that the Indiana Pacers play is proving me wrong in some way. They just keep winning and winning and winning and winning. And now what they need to do is win one more time. And they are immortalized in NBA history as the 2025 NBA champs. So I'll tell you what I had on my previous run of The Sims. Let me poke over to FanDuel quickly, just to show you guys the slight differences that we have here. And they're minor. It's SGA, significantly more owned than anybody else at 17-2. J-Dub at 12-2 is going to be your next highest MVP. And then it starts to flatten out. But the value plays on FanDuel are very different. Guys like 2K Benedict Mathurin are essentially unowned in comparison to some of these other dudes. This little area right here, your $2,600 Hartenstein, your $3,600 Nesmith, 4K Toppin. I mean, $5,400 TJ McConnell on FanDuel feels much more difficult to get to than he does on DraftKings, just in relationship to some of the prices that anybody else has. But on FanDuel, SGA is a very different play. Significantly more prioritized, significantly more owned. On my original run, I was quite a bit under the field on Aaron Nesmith. That has been a pretty common stand for me throughout the series. I'm okay with it. I'm light on Obi Toppin. To me, he's a boom bust play. If the Pacers are more likely to be in this game, he's probably making more shots. If they're not, then he's not. Light on Nembhard, light on Turner, so light across the board on the Indiana Pacers. However, I do have way too much Tony Bradley. That is something I'm going to make sure that I change in the next 20 minutes. I'm also over on Chet, which you've certainly heard throughout this series. SGA, Benedict Mathurin, and the one guy that I did not expect to be a little bit heavier on is Alex Caruso. Because if I'm being honest, 6,400 for Alex Caruso is a pretty big price tag. And he could play anywhere from 20 to 32 minutes today, I think. But because of that price, the ownership is being pressed down a bit. I'm anxious to see if I remove more of Tony Bradley, does that also remove Caruso for me? Because Tony Bradley is just showing up as the guy that I use for value And I definitely don't want a giant stand on Tony Bradley in game 7. I went back and watched the final 6 minutes of Cavs Warriors, the last game 7 we had before. First of all, just really gross basketball. But second of all, Festus Ezeli was out there for a decent chunk of that time, and it didn't go well for the Warriors. And I think that playing Tony Bradley too much in that scenario could also be a bit of an issue. So I am going to try to walk him back a little bit because we got updated ownership 2 minutes ago. I am ready to run my final sims, but I kind of want to know where you guys land. I asked the strategy show earlier today this question, and now I'm asking you guys, who is the NBA champion when this game is over? Who wins today, OKC or Indy? That is what I want to know. I am about to start running my contests and grabbing my sims for, unfortunately, the final NBA slate of the year. It's been a hell of a season. We have been grinding through this stuff since October, guys. I don't go anywhere. I'm here for y'all. Einsteinium says Pascal Siakam, finals MVP. I mean, if Indy wins, it's him. It would take a truly special Tyrese Halliburton game. Well, that's a very different poll than we had earlier today. Lets me know that the strategy show is a smarter group of gents than we get for the Live Before Lock show. 50-50 right now. Just for anybody that wants to know, the line is 7.5. So I trust the strategy show quite a bit more than I am trusting Live Before Lock right now. Silly guys. Bunch of silly guys here. Oh, it's climbing now. I just had to talk it into existence. That is what I said the other night, Travis. That's because they were also the favorites then. You're going to hear me think that the sizable favorites are going to win every game that exists. I agree. The line has always been in favor of OKC. It's a toss-up tonight. Anyone can win. I mean, yeah, anyone can win the game. But if we're looking at it like this is a 50-50 shot, I hope you guys are putting $1 billion down on the Indiana Pacers because you can get a much better line than even money. Where's that poll at now? 56% OKC across 171 votes. Just for the record, the money line is 70-30. The series is tied. Well, yeah, but I don't care about the results of 6 games to try to predict the 7th game. Wins and losses aren't what does this. Doesn't change the fact that if the Pacers win today, they are the NBA champs, and it's pretty damn sick. Look, we should not, I mean, the real Juju just said it. I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana wins. You should not be surprised if Indiana wins today. They're an underdog. They are less likely to win than OKC, but I mean, them winning would not be all that surprising at this point. It'll feel pretty normal. Does the line shifting from 7.5 to 6.5 change anything? I mean, the line didn't do that. It's not 6.5 anywhere real, and certainly not without any juice. By all accounts, the line is either 7 or 7.5, and no lower than that. 7.5 is what I would expect, or what I would accept as the true line. All right, I got my lineups exported. Now I need to find out just how much do I need to tweak Tony Bradley to not have a lot of Tony Bradley. Because that is just not an island I want to be on. If TJ McConnell has 38 fantasy points today, I'm going to assume the Indiana Pacers are the NBA champs. That's a lot of fantasy points. All right, let's see what my exposures look like right now. And let's see how much I need to get Tony Bradley out of there. Because I think he's going to play, clearly. But I just can't imagine he plays a lot. And if he does, that sucks. Okay, so right now I am multiple times above the field on Tony Bradley, which means I got to go back to the drawing board. How low will I go on MVP? I mean, I've got a giant stack of different MVPs, but in terms of guys that I have a bunch of, Miles Turner is someone that I'm pretty sizably above the field on. At the captain spot, that is. I'm over on Caruso at the captain spot. I've got random shares of Wiggins and Dort and McConnell. I had a lot of McConnell at captain over the past few days. Not as much today. I'm actually a bit under on TJ finally, but I had a lot of them in games 5 and 6 and neutral to the field in game 4. Turner or TJ at a similar price. I've got more of Turner than TJ McConnell. I think the Pacers are going to need a better game out of Miles Turner today to really get this done. If he's going to, a lot of this is just going to come down to do one of Miles Turner or Chet Holmgren make the threes they take? Because neither one of them has made anything for this entire series. And I think that we could see a very big change if just simply one of those two dudes actually makes the shots they take. All right, I have walked back Tony Bradley considerably. That probably gives me too much Kenrich now, which doesn't feel like a great game 7 thing. But it is maintaining this. It's maintaining me being light on Nesmith, Obi Toppin, and to a lesser degree, Andrew Nembhard. Here's a question for you guys in chat. We got about 12 minutes to go. Hit that like button. Do you guys feel, you know what, just hit me with a number here. I'll be able to read it fast enough. Scale of 0 to 100. How healthy is Tyrese Halliburton? I want to see where chat thinks this stands. I figured there were going to be a lot more 69s. 65, 69, 80, 85, 67, 65, 78. Okay. Seems like we're sitting in like the 70, 75% range. Not that I disagree. Okay. Those are some pretty realistic answers. I appreciate you guys. Okay. So let's follow that up. Because it seems like the consensus is like somewhere 60 to 80, at least. What does that impact? Do you guys like Halliburton today? Does his status make you like other dudes more or less? That's what I'm a little curious about. Where do you guys want to land when it comes to Tyrese Halliburton? Because for right now, I am essentially neutral for Tyrese Halliburton. He's currently projected for 30% ownership. We got Halliburton right here at 10-4, 28.5% owned. That's exactly where I'm at. Obviously, I think it's pretty clear that the better Tyrese Halliburton plays, the more likely it is that the Indiana Pacers win this game. With a bad Halliburton game, I think we're all in agreement that it's going to be pretty tough for them to pull it off. But I don't want to be left without it. Because when it comes down to it, there's one game left. And if you're ever going to gut through anything, gutting through one game seems like it could happen. And he's a good enough shooter that maybe he could be out there. Now, I expect Oklahoma City to make his life a little bit harder and make him work a little bit more defensively. That doesn't have to happen. All right. It looks like I've got my stuff locked and loaded. We could talk through these exposures in a second once I upload everything. I'm going to hit on Travis Meyer's super chat that just came in. TJ or Nesmith for last guy in. So the best that I can say here is that Aaron Nesmith is my biggest fade, and TJ McConnell is basically neutral for me. So I am leaning towards more of TJ than Nesmith. Andrew, you're probably not on the right tab because everything is updated. Oh, I mean, that's ignore that timestamp. Yes, everything is updated. I see what you're saying. Yes, everything is updated. All right, let me upload these lineups, lock in my final set before we do this. I am taking a relatively large stand on Benedict Mathurin right now for anybody that cares. That's the low dollar play that I'm getting to more than anything. And I'm cool with it because he is a guy that could either have a preposterous day that is necessary, or I'm just getting other guys that I don't really think can do that. So my biggest stands for game 7 are Benedict Mathurin, Chet Holmgren, and those two guys are tier 1 of guys that I'm over the field on. Caruso and SGA are the next two guys up. Miles Turner is 5th. Those 5 guys I'm all over the field on. The biggest fades, Nesmith, Toppin, J-Dub, Nemhard, and Siakam. But before anybody reacts, I am over the field at Siakam on captain, just slightly under the field at the utility spot. When it comes to other value, around neutral on Cason Wallace, not getting to Isaiah Joe, neutral to Tony Bradley. Not many other stands. Essentially no Ben Shepherd. Give me 1 second. Got to let the dog out. Ooh, I see a couple people saying Dort now. Right now I'm essentially neutral to Lou Dort. He's in 35% of my lineups, projected for 29% ownership. Thoughts on Aaron Wiggins? He's a guy that scares me. He's sort of just Oklahoma City's Benedict Mathurin. I'm neutral on Wiggins. They're going to give him the opportunity to create his own offense. He's one of the few guys that can stretch the floor. But at the same time, he gets beat like a drum defensively. Anytime he's out there with TJ goes right past him. So it's a push-pull on Wiggins. Like I said, it's a lot like Benedict Mathurin. When the shot's falling, you just feel like you want to have that guy because he's going to get it up and you can feel it change. But they're also going to take some probably pretty bad shots. They're both going to play some pretty shit defense. But I have no issue getting to Aaron Wiggins, particularly at home. The guy I have the most of anybody today is the same guy that I've had the most of a lot of times. It's not SGA this time, though. It is Chet. Now, I'm terrified of this because he just hasn't been able to make a bucket. But when Chet's been out there, they're erasing the Pacers' offense. If I remember correctly, it was something in like the 106 offensive rating range when Chet's been on the court so far in this playoffs, in this series, rather. I just need this dude to make some shots. If he's willing to stop trying to ISO into Miles Turner, then I think that Chet can have a solid enough game offensively and buoy that with some defensive stats. Does it scare me a bit? Hell yeah. He's made 2 threes in 6 games. That is not helpful. But I'm willing to bet on the talent here. Do I think the OKC makes any adjustments in defending TJ? No, not at all. Not at all. You just hope that he stops making 70% of his mid-rangers. Alex Diaz is asking about Hartenstein. He's the same guy he's been for me for this entire series. I see the path where the stats get better. I like him more the more that Halliburton is hurt. But I don't really know how hurt Halliburton is. I'm going to drop the link in quickly. Playback.tv/Stokastic is where we are going to be in 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, we are locked for the final slate of the NBA season. So make sure you're getting your lineups in. But what I want you guys to do is come join me on Playback tonight. Link up your NBA account if you have it. If you don't, I have 20 VIP passes that I can hand out so you guys can watch the game along with me. Worst case scenario, you get to hear me comment on the game for the next 2.5 hours. But I would love for you guys to come watch the game with me. This is as exciting as it gets. We don't get game sevens all that frequently in the finals, that is. And the last one we got was as big of a classic as you could ever find. So I hope that we can get something else like that. Shamar with the member message, SGA, Halliburton, or Holmgren last spot. So I don't really know how to answer that because SGA is $9K more than Chet and $5,200 more than Halliburton. So that doesn't make a ton of sense to me about last spot in. It's clearly SGA because you apparently have 17.2 to fill that spot. But like I also wouldn't be leaving $8,600 on the table if I picked Chet. So it's hard to say without knowing the rest of that lineup. Final results of the poll ended up at 60-40 across 328 votes. I appreciate that. Robert Johnson, that's a great question. Does my NBA subscription auto cancel? Yes. Every NBA package will be paused officially tonight. So nothing to worry about there. It's a great question. 2.5 minutes left. All right, let's do this. Because we got a 60-40 result on who wins this game. Who is the hero of today? When the game is over, who are we talking about as the person that was just like, that guy just won game 7? Dort, Siakam, Dort or Turner, Dort, Chet, Turner, Mathurin, Wiggins, J-Dub, SGA. A lot of Dorts. Cason Wallace, there's a name I haven't really said. There's a good question. Einsteinium says, if you think Halliburton is compromised, why not take a stand on Nembhard? Well, that's a great question. If I think Halliburton's compromised, I think Andrew Nembhard is biting off more than he can chew against what I think is one of the best defenses I've ever seen. I don't think it's good for Andrew Nembhard to have to do more in a series like this because I don't think he can. I really do appreciate you guys being here. We are on the final 60 seconds before we lock this one down and before we head to playback to just watch the best thing we could have hoped for. Because it's not just like we're getting a game 7. Could the Indiana Pacers be a more fun team to watch? Like, this is as entertaining as it gets. The crowd's going to be amazing. It might be bad basketball. These guys are going to be tight. They're playing for everything. This is the biggest game that any of these guys will ever play in. So we could be live for some ugly basketball. But I think we're just going to get some fun. And I hope that we do. So I'm going to close this out right now. One more time. The link is being put into chat. Playback.tv/Stokastic. And don't forget, you guys can always sign up for other DFS or sports betting products at either Stokastic or OddsShopper. Baseball is here every single day. MMA every weekend. Golf every weekend. NASCAR. NHL obviously over. And you crazies are going to get footballs soon enough. I won't care, but you guys will. And we'll have that covered in a big way, thanks to Laffy and the rest of the crew. But for now, we head to Playback. Playback.tv/Stokastic. For the NBA season on YouTube, this is me signing off.